Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. You know, can 7th and 8th graders become game changers? Think first for just a second about the eyes of a child. Think about a toddler. What are the common great characteristics of a toddler? Are they honest, truthful, sometimes perhaps too much so? Are they curious? Do they want to be able to find out how everything works and they're constantly looking and learning? Are they learners? Are they loving? Are they forgiving? Are they unintimidated? Are they fearless? Are they trusting? Yes, all of the above. Courageous? Yes. Do they worry about what they're wearing? Are they afraid to fail? Absolutely not. If they were, they wouldn't be able to walk. And yet, those personalities, those characteristics, were you that way? Were you that same very way? What happened? What happened? How did we change? And now I've had many decades to change. I've put on a lot of junk on top of my self-esteem, and so what about you? Now what about 13 and 14-year-olds, 7th and 8th graders? They haven't had as long to have that junk hide up all those great things, and you start to see them exposed. And it doesn't take much, believe it or not, to kind of expose that. Lori and I last week had the opportunity to go to Lawrenceville, New Jersey, to the Lawrenceville School, one of the most prestigious schools in the nation. And there we got to work with some of the 7th and 8th graders from the Lawrenceville area, and we also worked with 7th and 8th graders that were bused down from Hartford, Connecticut, that came out of maybe a less desirable area, and also from Philadelphia, equally a less desirable area. And so in terms of they were working in the areas around the projects. And so they were all brought together, different demographics, different backgrounds, brought together to spend time with Lori and me to learn about how they could become game changers. And we focused on gratitude. We talked about changing the got to the get to, the O to E. We talked about the empowering questions and using questions. We talked about the power of being able to be in motion and using motion theory to make things happen. And you know what? Can people shift on a dime? I don't know. But we saw lights come on. It was like we were looking into the eyes of a new young toddler. By the time the day was over, these kids were glowing. And they were excited about becoming leaders and about becoming game changers. And I saw them as attractants. I look at young kids today as the choice generation. Why? Because of two reasons. One, they have more choices than any generation that's ever lived before because of the internet and all of the information that's available. They also are a choice generation. I believe that they were saved to come to the earth at this time when we needed more leadership and more guidance to be able to guide us through these turbulent times that we're facing today. So for this reason, I was just considered an honor, Lori and I both, to be able to, anytime we have the opportunity to work with youth, to be able to see with them that we're motivated and inspired by them. Tell me what you think when you hear what some of these kids said. We asked those that felt that they learned how to be a better game changer, if they were so inspired, to write us a note and give it to us before we left. Here's what some of them said. I wish I could read all of them to you, but I'm just going to read a couple of them. One said, "One thing I learned today was that you can do anything you want with the motion theory formula." She said, "Starting with gratitude, you build your vision, you find out what your smallest step is to get in motion, and then you celebrate. I will do this, so I will use this formula to become a game changer in my life and in the life of others." And then she thanked us. Jody said, "One thing that I've learned is that I can come across when I come across an obstacle, I shouldn't ask, why did it happen to me? I should ask, how can I make it better, or what can I do?" Here's another one, just signed Game Changer. "One thing that changed me to become a game changer is to be helpful and do the things I love and never let anyone put junk on my self-esteem. And to know more about myself, to know what I want to have, and to know that other people may have it worse than me." and to turn the O into an E. I got to into E. She said, "Use questions." This is Caroline. "Use questions in my daily life and teach my disabled brother to do so as well. Tell the rock story to more and more people trying to inspire others, just as I was inspired here." He says, I am going to write as a question what I learned today. 1, how can I be less selfish? 2, how can I appreciate my life a little more? Empowering questions. And so on. Like I said, I wish I could read all of this. They talked about going big. They talked about inspired. It's all good. But we're talking about shifts, little shifts. And I'm sure so many of you already saw this on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. I made a copy of it. Mark Bodner sent it to me, brought it to my attention. I made a copy of it. I handed this out to the kids and read it to them in this fashion. And I think you'll see the power of a little shift. Here is what this particular page reads, okay? It says, today was absolutely the worst day ever, and don't try to convince me that there's something good in every day, because when you take a closer look, this world is a pretty evil place, even if some goodness does shine through once in a while. Satisfaction and happiness don't last, and it's not true that it's all in the mind and heart, because true happiness can be attained only if one's surroundings are good. It's not true that good exists. I'm sure you can agree that the reality creates my attitude. It's all beyond my control. And you'll never in a million years hear me say that today was a very good day. All right, let's make a little shift. Let's read it from the bottom up. Today was a very good day, and you'll never in a million years hear me say that it's all beyond my control. My attitude creates the reality. I'm sure you can agree that it's not true that good exists only if one's surroundings are good. True happiness can be attained because it's all in the mind and heart. And it's not true that satisfaction and happiness don't last. Some goodness does shine through once in a while, even if this world is a pretty evil place. Because when you take a close look, there's something good in every day, and don't try to convince me that today was the absolute worst day ever. A little shift, a light in the eyes. Let's regain that light that children have. Let's regain that curiosity. Let's, as these 7th and 8th graders got together, we saw the lights come on in them, that light of creativity, love, forgiveness, not afraid to fail. All of it coming together where they can become leaders themselves. They become game changers in a very changing world. Have a great week. Make it meaningful. I'll talk to you next Monday. Bye-bye.